So the official name is much more catchy. Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, and that's the official name.
Beautiful.
And I would love to tell you that a lot of thought and rigor went into the name Nano Banana. But the truth is...
Welcome to the Made by Google podcast, where we meet the people who work on the Google products you love. Here's your host, Rashid Finj.
In just a few short weeks, people created billions and billions of images with Nano Banana. Our guest today is David Sharon, a group product manager on the Gemini App team. And he'll tell us how Nano Banana became this viral sensation, what people have been creating with Nano Banana, and why it was called Nano Banana in the first place. It's not an answer I expected. Please enjoy the final episode of this season's Made by Google podcast.
This is the Made by Google podcast.
David, welcome to the Made by Google podcast. I guess you're one of the product managers making sure that people who use Gemini can create images. So how many images do you create every day?
Oh, me, I'm probably above 50 a day. And that's not including automated images we create, me specifically going and creating.
So you must be really great at prompting, I suppose.
Actually, I consider myself average plus. And we have so many people on the team, great team members that are expert prompters. So I get to see, what the best in class looks like. I'm average plus.
So we want to talk about Nano Banana today, of course. But to get there, I guess there's a whole backstory I want to go through with you. So, we can see on our internal pages, you've been here for about 10 years at Google, started at YouTube. But how did you get to Google in the first place? What's the backstory for you?
10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I was creating startups. And my latest round of startups weren't going so well. I just got engaged to my now wife, back then fiance. And her dad told me, it's time to get a job. So I told myself, I'll go 1 year to Google, only 1 year. And it ended up being 10 years. I really enjoy it. I didn't expect that. And I hope for many more.
So you started off at YouTube, and then you moved to this team that works on generative AI. Why did you make the change?
I was at YouTube. I was working on UX innovation. And I started to see a couple years ago generative AI start to form, start to take off. Nothing what it is today, but start to take off. And I told myself I really want to be part of this technology. I really want to get deeper in this technology. So I started working on generative AI at YouTube, mostly for viewers, creating chatbots. Then when I saw the opportunity open to work on the Gemini app to create images and video, I got very excited and I applied. And thankfully, I'm part of it now. I think the technology is at a real inflection point, and we're just in the beginning in seeing what this does to media, the ability to create images and video.
Right. So let's get to Nano Banana now. As you mentioned, you see new models all the time and you try them all the time. When was the first time you tried what we now know as Nano Banana? And did you immediately feel that it was something different?
The first time I tried Nano Banana, I uploaded an image of myself and asked to put myself in space. And all of a sudden, for the first time, I saw myself in the image and not my AI distant cousin. And I knew at that moment that this is going to be big. I didn't know how big, but I knew big. And it turned out to be much bigger than we imagined. But we knew from our previous launches that people really want to see themselves, their loved ones, their pets in the image and imagine them in new ways and transport them to new scenarios. So once we progressed on that axis of character consistency and facial consistency, where you look and you see, wow, that looks like myself, that looks like my sister, that looks like my pet, I knew this is going to be big. But there were other touch points as well where we started to see even more exciting things. So later on, what we saw is that we have a team internally that I call them the model whisperers. They're called the Greenfield team. And every time we have a new model, we give it to them and see what can they get out of the model. What are the use cases they can get out? And they are expert prompters. We spoke about earlier how I'm an average plus. They are expert prompters. And all of a sudden, we started to see these amazing things with the power of the model. So it could take, for example, a couch, an image of a couch, and an image of a potato. And you can ask the model, what would the couch look like if it was made out of the potato? And now you have a couch potato. You could put a seashell in a toilet, and you have a toilet made out of seashells. You could put my face in a bowl of Fruit Loops, and now you have my face made out of Fruit Loops. And just seeing that, that was outstanding. And I started to get more and more excited. But the first time we had a definitive answer from external market is when we put the model on LM Arena. LM Arena is an external website where it ranks different models against each other. You submit your model, and then a user can choose between model 1 and model 2, which one has a better image. It tallies as votes, and then you have a ranking. So we put it on LM Arena, and we were top of the board. But we saw something else which was much more surprising. It started trending on X, and people were talking about it on X. And then we saw our measure of traffic, we call that QPS, queries per second. We expected it to be very low. And then all of a sudden, it started to be larger than what we have in the Gemini app on our previous model. And that was mind-blowing. It went viral all over the world. And right now, we're much more than 5 billion images created on the Gemini app since launch.
That is amazing. And we'll talk about some of those examples, some of the 5 billion and plus images that people created. But I want to back up to something you mentioned. So the first image you created with Nano Banana, yourself in space, and it actually looked like you, which was so new. And it just makes you wonder, why is it so hard for AI to recreate someone from a picture? Because AI is so great, you imagine that that's maybe not the most difficult problem, but apparently it is.
It's about precision. We as humans are very trained to any small change in the face. If the nose is a bit bigger, if the wrinkle is not in the right place, if the smile looks awkward, the teeth is not where it's in the right way showing up. All these things we notice as humans. If you take, for example, a dog, you won't notice so much change in, the hairs on the dog or the nose of the dog. But on a human face, you need to be very, very precise. So that level of precision is what was difficult. And that's what brought us from AI distant cousin to seeing yourself today in an image.
Okay, so now we have a model called Nano Banana. It's on a website called LM Arena for super technical people who want to see which model is the best. But crucially, Nano Banana didn't include that it was a Google model, right? So at some point you have the Masked Singer kind of moment where you need to reveal who is behind the banana in a way. How did that go? How did you get to reveal that it was Google's work and your team's work?
There were a couple clues in the market, and some people started to put it together and hypothesize maybe it's Google. And then as we were getting closer to launch, we started to lean into that and drop clues. In the beginning, more subtle, random bananas in posts you don't expect. And then more heavy clues leading up to the launch. So in that moment when we unveiled the mask, there was already a lot of excitement and understanding that this is a model from Google.
Then it's launched in Gemini. More people can actually use it, not only the super technical people. So what are things you remember from those first few days, things you've seen online that people generated? Because, of course, you can generate anything you want, and other people will always come up with something that you yourself didn't think about. Is there anything in your mind that stands out?
The first thing that stood out to me that was surprising was our first viral trend. Our first viral trend was a figurine, and Kim Kardashian posted this figurine. Gordon Ramsay posted the figurine, and many other celebs, both locally and globally, but also a lot of people. And that figurine, we knew that people want to show themselves in different ways.
Sure.
It started in Thailand, and we started to see that prompts in Thailand are more and more this 90-word prompt, and started to go viral. And all of a sudden from Thailand, we saw it go from the Philippines to Malaysia to Indonesia, hopped over to Mexico to Brazil, and went global. which we expected something much shorter and easier to go viral. And since then, there's been so many viral trends. The next one was a Polaroid trend, where you can see yourself in a Polaroid, something that looks like a Polaroid image, and with your distant cousin, so you bring them together, and also some touching stories. There was a user in Mexico that they were doing a baby shower, and unfortunately the grandmother passed away prior to that baby shower. So they printed out a photo of the baby with the grandmother in a Polaroid using Nano Banana to honor the grandmother and have her part of the celebration. I've also seen in Brazil a user who just graduated, I believe, university, where she brought her father who was deceased and couldn't be part of that graduation. So she brought her in the Polaroid picture with him. Another trend we saw is restoration of old images. You can take one of your old black and white images that may be torn in the edges, wrinkled, water stains, and have it completely restored as if it's 2025, taken with a 2025 camera today, relive that moment. I've done that in my family with a couple of our old photos, which was quite amazing for my grandmother specifically, to see her old house in Morocco before she moved to Israel, to see other people that are no longer with us. It's really such a powerful technology, and the limits of human creativity are endless. We keep on seeing new use cases, new trends all the time.
So you mentioned the 90-word prompt, almost like, oh, I have like a secret formula, and if you say it out loud, you get a figurine in this case. You mentioned very emotional use cases. Do you remember some of the like super funny ones as well?
Some very funny ones usually have to do with my family making fun of me.
Of course.
So me in all kinds of professions that I never imagined myself in. Me in with people that I don't interact with day to day or probably don't have access to. All kinds of scenarios of my family on my WhatsApp group making fun of me is probably the funniest ones. And I hope they don't see this podcast and get encouraged to do more.
So there's one thing we need to talk about, of course, David, and it's the name itself, Nano Banana, right? Is that actually the official name, by the way?
So the official name is much more catchy. Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, and that's the official name.
It's beautiful.
But it's beautiful. But the way Nano Banana was created was by a PM named Nina. And while she was submitting, when you submit a model anonymously to LM Arena, you need to give it a placeholder name. And I would love to tell you that a lot of thought and rigor went into the name Nano Banana. But the truth is that at 2:30 in the morning, Nina had a moment of brilliance to call the placeholder Nano Banana. And that was the name in LM Arena. And like I said, we didn't expect it to go viral. People were already calling the model Nano Banana based on this placeholder name on LM Arena. And when we launched it with the official name, people kept calling it Nano Banana. So we've adopted that name also and hugged it because it really is a great name. And it afforded us many things also in the app. So if you go to the Gemini app today, you'll see bananas everywhere. And the emoji, and that emoji indicates where you get the model. So that name was brilliant, and congratulations to Nina.
But wait, so you're saying that she came up sort of with that name on the spot, somewhere 3:30 a.m. There was like it wasn't like, we often have code names that are in use for months or sometimes years. None of that.
No, it was a moment of brilliance by Nina.
Is she in marketing now?
No, she's a PM, and she's an amazing PM, and I hope she continues to come up with also amazing names. So whatever comes up next, Nina, you got it.
David, it's so great that you can create lifelike images and edit them like, everything that you see on the screen was real. But it will undoubtedly create questions about responsibility, like people creating images, saying things were real, but they never happened. How do you deal with that as the creators of a model like Nano Banana?
Let me take a step back and talk a bit about our philosophy and our thinking in the area. We think about two things. We think about being both bold and responsible. We know that a tool like this carries a heavy responsibility towards society. So I'll start with bold. In bold, we want to honor the user's request to the best we can. You might have noticed on the Gemini app, you used to receive more, "I can't do that." And it's gone down over time because we want to honor your request as best as we can. That said, not everything goes. And we know that there is a large responsibility on a tool like this. This is still day one, and we're learning from all of the ecosystem, from different players on what is the right thing to do for society. So please let us know when you think we should take a different direction, because we are learning all the time. So today, there's different methods that we let users know where an image came from, and that's part of our responsibility. We call that provenance. One is a visible watermark, and that comes out from any image from the Gemini app. You'll see a visible watermark on the bottom right side. That visible watermark lets someone know that it's AI generated. However, it's easy to tamper with that watermark, and we realize that. You can crop it out. The second thing we do is we have an invisible watermark, something that the human eye can't see, and that's using Synth ID. Synth ID is an unbreakable invisible watermark, where if you crop the image, if you uploaded it to a different service provider and edit it, whatever you do, it will still remain there, and we can detect it. And right now, Google can detect it, and any image that raises to a certain level of prominence and we're asked to detect it, we will detect it and say if that image was AI generated by us. We also are working to make this tool available to the masses, so anybody could ask that question without us needing to be in the loop. Right now, it's with trusted testers, so academics and researchers and experts, to make sure we answer that question, is this real, in the right way. It's actually a nuanced question that isn't that simple. For example, if you took an image and you changed the filter, it's still a real message, but the image is AI generated. So we want to provide all that detail so people understand when they ask, is this real? We manage to answer the underlying question of, is the message real?
Great. So it's the difference of, is like the whole scene generated, or were just maybe the colors touched up, for example?
Exactly.
So David, what is next for sort of image generation and image editing specifically? What can you tell us about, how to progress from here?
Well, now that Nano Banana is out, we're doing exactly what we did for all our previous launches, is that we're listening very, very intently. What do users want? What are they asking for? Where do they click thumbs down? Where do they complain online or on Reddit or through our scaled feedback? And we're aggregating all of that to prepare for our next improvements and launches. So please, if you're using the Gemini app, give feedback, click that thumbs up or that thumbs down if you don't like something, for thumbs down, or if you like something, for thumbs up. And that lets us know how to improve going forward.
With all the banana going on, David, some people might forget that we also do video generation. And we recently launched an update to VO 3.1. What's new in there?
It's a new model on top of the VO 3 series, so 3.1, and it's an improvement across the board on quality, highest in what we call photo to video. So when you upload a photo and have that as the first frame of your video, we also have other improvements on reference to video. Reference to video means that you could take your likeness or an object in the image and put it anywhere in the video. So both of those are big improvements. We're also very happy that we managed to bring photo to video to the EU and UK for the first time. So a lot going on in the video generation space, so much creativity in video, and also nice tie-ins of people creating images with Nano Banana and then using that image as an upload for photo to video. So can't wait to see more trends that come out.
Now, David, final question. It's hard to believe, but there might be people listening right now who are super interested in Nano Banana but have never used it. So maybe after this conversation, they're going to go over to Gemini and they're going to try it for the first time. What would you recommend they try for their first Nano Banana image?
So right now, if you go to the Gemini app, you're going to see that there's a menu of templates right on that zero state for you to choose from, which is the easiest way to get started. So for example, that figurine I talked about, that's one of the options there. And you can just click it, and then you can upload your image, and it'll create a figurine of you. That's how I would get started.
Amazing. And I'm going to try all of them myself because I haven't done that. David, thank you so much. And good luck with whatever name Nina comes up with after Nano Banana.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashid. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Made by Google podcast. Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts to be the first to listen.